Welcome back, everybody. So a few days ago, I uploaded a anti-reaction. I was going to react to Bill Ward playing with Black Sabbath, doing War Pigs. That material was copyright claimed by Universal Music Group. So I said, I'm not going to use their footage and put in the video. And someone left a comment that, why not share your thoughts on it anyway? Kind of left us high and dry here. And, they had a fair point. Like, I did have some thoughts about it and I made comments about it. And so I asked them, should I just do a follow-up that has that kind of information in it? And they said, hell yeah, do it. So here I am. And it's kind of interesting. It gives me a chance to actually collect my thoughts and put some notes down and kind of come up with some other things I want to say rather than trying to fit it all in as the video's rolling. So this is more of a review of performance, and there will be no audio or video clips from that footage in this video to not feed the pigs. We are no longer feeding the pigs. So this is, it's War Pigs. Everybody, well, not everybody, but most people know the song. If you want to check out the performance, it's their 1970 in Paris performance. And Bill Ward's on drums, and Ozzy and Tony Iommi, the whole band. I forget the bass player's name. Geezer Butler. And they're doing their thing, and it starts off with this. It's a waltz. That's what I would call just about anything in 3/4 time is going to be referred to as a waltz most of the time. And it's one of those, I would call it like a halftime waltz. It's got that heavy backbeat on the downbeat of every other bar. 1, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. So I would put that in the class of like a halftime waltz. But what I noticed is that he's even playing a little bit of a swing pattern on it. Bill Ward is. So it's something kind of like, I've got the drums here. It's a basic swing waltz, really, but he's playing it very heavy, very hard. He's got double butts for drumsticks, so he's playing with clubs, double clubs, full power. And this, as a reference, if there were other waltzes I could refer to, so one that comes to mind is the intro to The Chicken from the Jaco Pastorius Big Band. They do a very bluesy halftime waltz for the intro to that, and then the song The Widow by the Mars Volta has that same kind of very heavy halftime waltz kind of feel. He's playing this cool little intro and they're swinging. He's swinging, which is kind of fun it was fun to, I didn't notice it the first time, but the second time I noticed he was adding that ding, ding, dang, dang to it. So he's got the double butts locked in. He's got a stick holstered in his pants, which I thought was genius. I play a lot, like when I play with brushes, I'll stick the sticks under my leg so that I can pull them out when I want to switch to sticks. But I never thought of holstering an extra stick in my belt. I thought that was kind of genius. So, and I love the double butt. So I play with the butt of the stick in my left hand, probably like 85% of the time. I'm using that. And one of the reasons I do it is because it's very easy to go back and forth from match grip to traditional by just doing that. And I can still play light with the butt of the stick if I'm just comping or playing lightly, and I can still get some good fatness. Adds a little beef to the snare drum when I need it. So most of the time I'm playing like this. I'll switch over if I want a really light touch on my left hand. And if I want to get, a little more delicate with it, I'll maybe switch to the tip in traditional grip. But when I'm, playing a heavy shuffle, I'll play with the butt in my left hand. So I love the double butts. And then, they finish playing the waltz intro. They get into the beginning of the song. Well, the second part of the song is this cool hi-hat thing he does. And if I had just listened to the recording, I would have assumed he was just stomping the hi-hat and then going, tss. But he's actually kind of thing, just to add that clarity to it. Adds a little more clarity to the sound and locks that time in a little better. It reminds me of David Garibaldi. So David Garibaldi would do a lot of patterns where the hand and the foot would be keeping time, and then he would change up the, you know, and you can do a lot with something like that. Let's go back to the drums. So. You get that clarity coming down, but then if you throw in a little offbeat, you get the open hi-hat sound. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then when he's going to play the fills, again, if I'm just listening, I would have thought he's, you know, playing that, and then he's going ban out with two hands, ban out, but he's actually doing it one-handed sometimes, and sometimes both, ban out, full power, just trying to get that oomph added into the part. Really cool, just like simple stuff that just adds so much to the ferocity of the song. And then one of the other things that I noticed that was really cool is the way he plays his fills through the accents, through the kicks with the band. You know, the band might play burn out, and he's playing his fill through that. Instead of hitting it, he's playing that fill through that, so it kind of ties the sections together, and his fill carries over the bar line. And that's such a jazzy thing to do. Like, there's so many examples of, like, Buddy Rich playing with his big band, where there's a section where the band has some kind of a figure, and he'll play his fill as it fits into that figure instead of just hitting the figure. It's a very tasty big band drummer kind of thing to do. There's a lot of big band drumming qualities to Bill Ward's playing. You know, the sound quality on the video isn't superb. I mean, it's from 1970. It's, you know, what are you going to get? But you can still tell that there's a certain level of sound quality that is coming out of the drums that gets lost a lot when players play too hard. So I'm reminded of, like, Lars Ulrich or Travis Barker, who hit extremely hard, but when you hear it, the cymbals, like, they're all attack. There's no resonance. There's no fade. They're hitting so hard that all you're getting is splats and attacks and stick on metal. You're not getting the full warmth of the cymbal. And maybe, you know, I think a lot of it probably has to do with the kind of cymbals they choose to use. You know, Bill's playing on vintage cymbals at this point, and the sound is going to come out of them. But even as he's hitting as hard as he can, he's not completely bashing through the cymbal. He's still drawing sound out that has a decent quality to it. And I think it's important when we're playing to get good sounds out of the drums. You don't just want to hit them as hard as humanly possible, because there's a breaking point. There's a limit to how hard you can hit a crash cymbal before it stops sounding like a crash cymbal and just sounds like a hunk of metal. And it is possible to play with power and still get good sound quality, which I'll come to in a minute. So over the years, there have been a lot of drummers who played with a lot of power and had good sound quality, and there could be a list of hundreds, but the ones that come to mind, and it's not just rock drummers or metal drummers or whatever, like, this goes back to, like, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. Like, Art Blakey was a powerful drummer, and he had a great sound quality. And Sonny Payne with the Count Basie Big Band, and Tony Williams, and then those guys, you know, and then those are the jazz guys I could come up with. Even Buddy Rich generated a lot of power when he needed to and when he wanted to, but his dynamic range was insane. Same with these other guys. And then you get into the 60s and 70s, and you get John Bonham, who was one of the most powerful but still had good sound quality. And then later, you know, in the 2000s, I think of John Theodore, who was right at the cusp of hitting so hard that there was no quality to sound, but on those recordings, he sounds fantastic, and the drums are recorded perfectly for his style. So those are just some drummers that I thought of the top of my head. I'm sure you can think of others. You go ahead and comment them, and talk about power drummers who still had a good sound quality, because I think there are plenty who just kind of bash and bash and bash, and the sound quality isn't there. This performance is obviously great. One thing I also noticed, that almost no two fills are the same, which is another very jazz thing to do. Like, a jazz mentality is like, I never want my fills to be the same every time. I want to play something different every time I'm supposed to fill this space. I'm going to do something different. It's something that I didn't do before in the song. And it may be even from performance to performance, he might not play it the same way twice. So I love that. I love that. It's kind of a jazz musician, jam band kind of mentality. Like, you never want to do the same thing twice. It's a great performance. I loved it. Black Sabbath is, obviously iconic and legendary. And I'm not I haven't done deep dives. I don't know the albums and the songs and all this, but War Pigs has always been one of those songs that I was like, yeah, this is jamming. I can get behind this. And it's something that I've seen a lot of jazz bands do. I mean, right after Ozzy died, I saw a session around here in Ventura. They were having a jam session. They played this song. I've seen a big band cover this song. I've seen a brass band play this song. It's a very jazzy tune. It's very big bandy. Like, it has all those elements that make a really cool big band chart. Funny where influences go over the years. But so that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I might do more of these if I can't. If fair use is out the window, then we're just gonna have to do it this way. We'll see what happens, but I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments whatever you want to let me know. See you next time.